Hi, good afternoon. Welcome back to our tutorials for our last time we looked at making our modifications for our task B. That is, we looked at all the modifications that was related to these three areas in task B of the spreadsheet. Today we're going to move on to the final task in this spreadsheet document. So today we're going to be looking at task C. Now task C has to ask you to make modifications as follows. Number one, it was reported that some of the schools were experiencing financial difficulties. As a result of this, the late penalty fee was reduced to 6%. So that is one modification that we must now make. Number two, resulting from a board meeting, it was noted that there is a need for more security based on the prospective number of patrons. Consequently, an additional 5 security was used. Number two, a new sponsor contributed a total of $6,000 so as to offset the additional cost due to the new changes. You are also being asked to create a chart that will indicate the sponsors and the amount of money they contributed. You are to label your chart appropriately. And finally, you are to create a pie chart for one section of the expenditure. Note one section of, and again, you are to give your chart appropriate name and appropriate labels. Now let's go back to our spreadsheet document. In order for you to make modifications and still maintain the integrity of the data you had previously, you must make a copy of what you have. And as such, we are going to save this using a different name. So we're going to go to our office button, select save as, and we're going to save it as task C, or you can save it as athlete 3, right? But for the purpose of this class, okay, for the purpose of this class, I'm gonna save it as athlete 3. Okay, good. So now we have our document to work on, and we can make any modification we want and still have a copy of all the changes we made to task B. Alright. So let's look at the first modification that we must make. It says that the penalty fee must be reduced to 6%. So here we're gonna go to our key sheet and we're gonna look for where it says penalty, and it says late penalty fee is 10%. So we want to reduce that to 6%. Modification number 2 says an additional 5 security officers were used, and so we need to make that change as well. So we're going to go back to, it says security officers and it says 10. So we want to add another 5 security officers. So we now have 15 security officers. Modification number 3, a new sponsor contributed a total of $6,000. So once again, we need to go back to our keys sheet and we need to make modifications to our sponsorship table. So here I want to insert a row. So I want to insert a sheet row, and I want to put in the name of a sponsor, and this sponsor gave us $6,000. So our total sponsorship fee now becomes $116,000, up from $110,000. Now remember that as you make your changes, you are to save as you go along to ensure that you do not lose your data. Say for example you have a power out, right? So let's go back to our key sheet. Now we have just made changes to two things. We made a change to our late fee, so therefore the calculation of our late fee should now change. So it should now be $300 and not $500. So that also means that our total amount due has also changed, right? Now let's look at something here in our budget data. So that means that the amount of money collected for fees should have changed as well, right? So if it wasn't changed, then it means that something went wrong. So it should have changed. So fees collected, and I'm just gonna do a link sheet here to link the fees collected, right? But you do notice that the sponsorship amounts had actually changed, right? So the fees collected now should reflect the same amount that is in your keys sheet, $19,800. The other change was made to our security. So the figure for our security officials have now changed as well. So it moved from $37,000 plus to $56,250, which means that our total expenditure has been increased, right? So our balance now becomes much smaller. Good. So this is as a result of us linking our data. So once you make the changes in your key sheet, the change should automatically be made in your budget data sheet as well. So now let's move on to this item. So we're going to create an appropriate chart that will indicate the sponsors. Now we want to create a chart that is comparing the amount of money that we receive from sponsors. And so the best type of chart to use in this case would be a bar or a line graph. So here you want to select the data. So you notice I have selected the headings, that's our column labels, and we have selected the data for each sponsor and the total. Now, so on our menu bar, we're going to select insert, and here is a list of all the types of charts that are available for use. Now I want a column chart, so I'm going to select the drop down arrow, and then I'm going to select a design I like, and I'm going to go with the simplest, most common 3D design. So here my data, the comparison is here. So the name of each sponsor and the total amounts that each sponsor sponsored is here, right? So I want to make some modifications to my chart. I want to change the name of my chart from amount to and I want to call it, for argument's sake, sponsorship data. Good. I also want to label my axes, because I want to ensure that once you take my chart, you will understand exactly what it is that you are seeing. So I want to go to layout, the layout option, and I'm going to select axis titles. right? So I want to look at the horizontal title first, and I want to say below the axis, so it comes here. So here I'm gonna call this name of sponsors. So I have my title for my axis. I want to also go back now to my vertical axis, and I want to select a style that I want to put it in, and I will select that, and I will call this amount sponsored. So I say amount sponsored. Good. But I don't want my chart to be on the same spreadsheet that my data is on. I want my chart to be on a brand new page all by itself. So I'm going to right click my mouse, and I'm going to say move charts. I'm going to select new sheets, and I want to name my chart. So I'm going to call my chart sponsors chart, and I'm gonna click OK, and my chart is on a new sheet with my labels. My labels are here. Here, the name of my charts. The axes are labeled, both Y and X axis are labeled, and my chart looks okay. You can change the style, the color if you like. There are so many other design that you can choose from. They're all here. You can choose a design that suits your personality. That's fine. Good. And like I say, always ensure that you save at intervals to ensure that you don't lose this data. Now, I want my chart not to be the second item in my workbook. I want it to come after my winners list. So here I'm going to click on it, on the name of the chart, which is the sheet. Then I'm going to hold down the mouse until I see that page icon, and then I'm going to hold my mouse and I'm going to drag it to where I want it to go and release it. So I want to release it. So now so my chart is now the last thing in my list of data sheets. So once again, let's look at the other item that we must now create. So we're asked to create a pie chart that will represent one section of our expenditure. So let's see which aspect of our expenditure we want to highlight. And so I have decided to look at our officials. So I'm going to select the data that I want for my pie. I'm going to go back to insert. I'm going to select my pie, and I'm going to choose from the design. Choose the design that I like. So I like this one. So voila, this is my pie. Good. Now the same thing goes for this one. You need to ensure that you have labels. So we're asked to appropriately label. So I'm going to select chart title, and I'm going to say above chart, and I'm going to call this expenditure. Let me change that. I'm going to say cost of expenditure, and I'm going to say one section only. The other thing is you can insert labels into your charts. So let's look at inserting labels into our chart. Apologies. So we go back, we said, so we're going to be selecting data label, and we want it to be on the outside, well rather the inside end of our pie. So I select that. There is my figure. We can also ensure that we get what we call a percentage value as well, right? So we can add something else. So we select data label again, and we want to go to more data label options, and here we want to select percentage, and I don't want the percentage to come in the same line, just separated by a comma. I want it on a new line. So here I'm going to select new line, I'm going to click close, and there. So you have the figure and the percentage of each data. And the same thing that we did in the previous chart, I want my chart to be on a separate page by itself, because I don't like the look of this. So I want to ensure that my chart is by itself. So I want to right click, and I want to say move chart again, new sheets, and I'm going to call this chart expenditure, and I'm going to say OK. Good. So this is my chart. Now you notice I have my legend, so it tells me which color represents security, which color represents the marshals, and which color represents our medical personnel. And in the same sense, I want my chart to be the last thing on my page. So I'm going to put my chart here. So, and your spreadsheet aspect of your SBA is completed, right? You want to make sure that you save what you have, because you don't want to lose it. So here you have your athlete data, your keys sheets, your budget data, your winners list from all the persons who were placed from 1 to 3. You have your sponsors chart, and like I say, you can choose whichever design you like. Good. To make modifications, you just click on it and you select chart tools, and you get your options for your chart. And here again, our expenditure. Good. And like I say, you can choose whichever design you like. So that's it for the spreadsheet section of our school-based assessment on the University of Sports International. In our next lesson, we will explore what is required of us in our database management section.